Welcome to this episode of Petanque Points, a podcast about things positive pertaining to petanque. People, places, events, and anything else we can find to promote, interest, inform, and even educate. In this week's episode, you'll discover square Boules, how to play Dong the Thong, we will mention Karl Lagerfeld, learn how a he became a her in Tasmania. We find a pristine public piece looking for players, hear reports from it. No, we don't. We hear reports from some of our roving crew and more. So stay tuned. Let's jump in straight away with a report submitted by our roving reporter, Griff's mum, on the competition day played at St.Kilda. The Menage Trois on Sunday the 17th of January. St.Kilda members Michael and Julie Lacasse, along with their 7-year-old son, Caelan, played as a team. Julie's father, Martial Leconte, also competed. So 3 generations all playing. How good is that? The Lacasse team finished 4th in the Social, while Martial and his team finished 1st in the Consolon. Griff's mum goes on to say, "The weather was perfect and the piece, I understand, had had some work done recently and from a bystander's point of view it looked to be in great condition. Marquise provided ample shade which allowed for a pleasant environment for those wishing to socialise in between games. Familiar faces were also there. It was lovely to catch up with Corinne and Benjamin, past members of St Kilda, who often attend to give their support. St Kilda always looks her best in the sunshine, and a variety of food and beverage options tops off what was a very successful day for the St Kilda Petanque Club." There was a suggestion floating that one extra piece had been squeezed in for the day, but Club Secretary Alexis Sousa confirmed there was not an extra piece added for this event on this day. All the results, of course, can be found on MyPetanques. The first 3 teams in the Principal, if you aren't already aware, were Jess and Sumeri, Frederic Vercontesami, and May Retina. Second was Serien, Aaron Piche, Saruan Finn, and third, my friend Piero Lubin, Louis Fenelon, and Marie-Claire Meliard. The following is part of an article by John Henley, published in The Guardian, 28th of July 2010. It raises some interesting points and offers up a story on how petanque, as we know it, came to be about. Read the full article before you dispute the veracity of this account. Yes, I too have heard some different versions. So here we go. How Boules got cool. Forget the image of Boules, or petanque as it is more properly known, as the game of old men in string vests. Suddenly it's becoming the height of cool, and not just in France. According to Martine Pellet, who wrote La véritable histoire de la pétanque, and so should probably know, none of this would ever have happened without her granddad. Around the turn of the last century, and that might be the century before, I would have thought, around the turn of the last century, in common with a great many of their compatriots across the south of France, the men of La Ciotat, a small port town in Provence, were much taken with a version of Boules known as Le Jeu Provençal, also known as Le Long, because back then the piece was up to 20 metres long, or Les Trois Pas, because players took 3 smart steps before launching their balls. So anyway, says Pellet, one sunny spring day back in 1907, a bunch of longuistes were shooting balls on a now celebrated piece in La Ciotat known as La Boule Étoilée. In those days, she recounts, spectators would hire chairs to watch a game. This could cause problems because people sitting near the jack were not above giving a boule a sly nudge with their feet every now and again to push it closer or further away, whatever served a friend's cause. I like these friends. To prevent such unsporting behaviour, it was decided for this particular game to lose the chairs. They took them all away, apart from the one belonging to Jules Le Noir, a great former champion, Pilates says. He had such bad rheumatism he could no longer step up to play, which upset him no end. So my grandfather made Jules a suggestion. "We'll shorten the piece by half," he said in Provençal, "and draw a circle around your chair, and we'll all play from there, with our feet anchored, a petanque." And thus was petanque, the only form of Boules in which the player must stand still, launch his balls, born. Most of us, of course, ignorant of such subtleties, know it as plain French Boules, a game played in the shade of plane trees on the scruffed gravel of countless squares across France by elderly men in flat caps and string vests, gitanes clamped into their lower lips and shots of pastis never far from hand. Or encountered on summer campsites, which is where many of the astonishing 17 million French people who partake in this most sociable of sports presumably indulge their passion. Or glimpsed on cinema screens, perhaps in something by Marcel Pagnol. But we need to update that picture because guess what? Petanque has become fashionable. Not just across the channel where Karl Lagerfeld this month hosted a star-studded tournament in Saint-Tropez for the likes of Vanessa Paradis and Diane Kruger, where chic labels such as Chanel and Louis Vuitton are currently flogging designer petanque sets in soft leather cases for a mere £1,500, and where the country's biggest Boules manufacturer, Boules, had just launched a new line in tattooed steel for style-conscious teenage petanquistes. But in Britain too. The full article can be found here, www.theguardian.com/lifestyle/2010/July 28, France Boules Petanques got cool. That article was published in 2010. The following data was collected just last week. Traffic from Google search has been picking up. Looks like there's been a jump in general interest in petanque in Australia since November, currently at its highest level in the last 5 years. Now that is good news. One of our effervescent reporters, for the sake of embarrassment, we won't mention Michael's name, was at the cafe at Burnham Beeches a week or two back. This was the stately home of the heir to the Aspro Empire in the Dandenongs in Victoria. He was having an excellent day with his family and grandchildren and noticed that near to the cafe was a small bowling green, and next to that, a petanque piste. So naturally, we were eager to get this to the world of petanquers. However, on checking the facts, because that is what we do here, it was found that you may be strung up or arrested, or both, if you chucked a metal boule here, as it turned out to be, dare I say it, a bocce lane. However, this podcast does not want to let you down or have you go without, so I found another piece for you to use at your leisure. It is publicly accessible, there are no fences, it is very even and well maintained. The address is number 2 Beauty Avenue on the corner of Kiwa Crescent, Mount Beauty. It is opposite the public conveniences and a cafe. Oh, and the coffee is good at the cafe. A fantastic posting caught my eye this week, so much so that I invited Robin, the author, to present it personally. Robin is from Bayside Petanque Club in Tasmania, about 10 minutes south from Hobart. The club is located on Long Point Road, Sandy Bay, a beautiful place in which the club is intent on maintaining the area in pristine condition. When they leave, you can't tell they've even been there. They are now in their 9th year, having just celebrated their 8th anniversary. I'm pleased to present Robin Dando on Bayside Midsummer Melee.
Saturday was scheduled to be the day for Bayside's first competition of 2021, the Midsummer Melee. And what a great day it was. A record number of entries, yay, except most were on time, a few misread the flyer and were late. 2 wonderful new members arrived, not knowing the competition was on, and one member thought it was Friday and came for the twilight meeting. And then some members got too hot and left. One dropped a ball on her toe and the tournament director, Terry Dando, got tetchy. Bayside's ethos welcomes all and makes sure that everyone gets a game. And we were, after all, playing for wine and chocolates, not cheap stations or dollars. The amazing scorers were slotting people in, taking people out, trying to make sure no one played together twice. In fact, was Midsummer Mayhem or Midsummer Madness or Midsummer Mix-Ups until the tournament director uttered a very sarcastic, drawn-out, well, as he eyed the draw. Fortunately for him, the scorers restrained themselves and it wasn't Midsummer Murders. Well, apart from all the fun and games, it was a fabulous comp. 4 players won all 3 games, all of them women, of course. 8 players won 2 games and the rest were trying hard. Just a little aside, the tournament director couldn't take a point. Oh dear. The winners were Jenny, first, with a great Delta score of plus 24. Second, Judy, with another great Delta score of plus 20. Anne with plus 16. Vicky with plus 14. And they were also stars of the piece. Christine was a very gracious wooden spoon recipient. She tries every month to do that. And on our Facebook site, there's some photos for your absolute delight. I'd like to thank Vanessa for keeping calm at the score table under very trying circumstances and for taking the photos.
Thanks so much, Robin, for your excellent work. After that interview, I came across another item from Bayside, which is worth presenting here, and I quote, "If you happen to be browsing through Bayside Petanque Club's posts and photos, you will see that the Foundation Day competition in 2020 was an all-female affair, not a bloke inside in the semis. The grand final was the match of the century between Sue T and Christina, with Sue taking the honours, just. Now, as magnificent as the trophy is, it somehow rankled. There is a man atop the plinth. Never one's to be beaten. Sue and Kath put their heads together one windy afternoon, and voila, Sue is now the proud holder of Bayside Barbie, brilliant bullista. Long may she reign. Of special note is that Anne was the first woman to take the trophy. Go, girls! And here she is, in her Barbie doll dress, in all her glory. Oh, I'm holding the picture of the microphone. Got it? Last episode, I covered a variation of the game with a report on extreme petanque. A listener challenged me to find something to better even that. So how about this? Petanque carré, or square boules, in Haute de Gagne on the French Riviera. Yes, I did say square boules. Every second Saturday in August, in Pierrefort's steep alleys and roadways, they play a strange form of petanque. And so it has to be. If you played with regular round boules on this steep terrain, you would lose them almost immediately as they would just run away, eventually ending up in the sea. Directly derived from the French boules game, it is actually played with cubic or square boules. Great ability is required by the competitor to bowl with the balls that are not really balls. Not easy, but a lot of fun. Originating in the southern French Sydney of Cagnes-sur-Mer, close by the Mediterranean Sea and southern French Alps, this municipality has been hosting this championship for several decades. A few hundred kilometres away in the Cantal, the town of Pierrefort, having the same characteristics of steep sloping alleys, organised the European Square Boules Championship in 1980. This competition is open to everyone, lovers and novices, as in normal petanque, a game is played to 13 points. It's primarily meant to be a fun day, but for those who make it to the final round, the competition can last more than 12 hours. I don't know why, but it does. If you would like to register to play, contact Pierrefort's tourist office, email pierrefort.info@payssansfleur.fr. Square boules are supplied by the organisers. Here's a quickie from Warrnambool. Once again by roving reporter Griff's mum. Gosh, he gets about. Camberwell was well represented today in the Wayfair Cup played at Warrnambool. Max represented Warrnambool and his team took out the honours. Billy represented Port Fairy and the team came a close second. Looking forward to return match at Port Fairy on Sunday. I was intrigued by a posting online from the Ballina Petanque Club. They are located at Pop Denison Park, East Ballina. No, they're not. They are located at Pop Denison Park, East Ballina, south of Byron Bay, probably about 1.5 hours from the Gold Coast. Here's the post, 26th of January. Australia Day Games. Best dressed Aussie, Giselle Ferriol. Well, that seems straightforward enough. The next event got my curiosity up, though. Dong the Thong Champs. It seems this is played by 4 teams. Thongs are placed on cans and boules are sent down to knock the thongs from the cans. Obvious enough when you think about it. Winners were Denis Madeleine, Carol Brion, Sue Davey and Lynn Blaine. Then there was the Wood Cross Champs. Interesting, I thought. Turns out to be 2 regular wooden picture frames are placed over each other to form a cross. Points are awarded by getting your boule into sections of the frames formed by the frames. Got it? Well, it seems they do it very well and they don't often break the frames. Now, that's what I call accuracy. Winners this time were Veronica Mills and Bob Lewis. Then there's the cork champ. Fortunately, they have a local sponsor and each week they pull a cork out of a hat or a bucket. John Hollingsworth's cork was lucky enough to get the cider prize. And I like this one. Anytime a 6-point score end is made in a game, a bottle of cider is awarded. The current game champ numbers run like this. Bob Lewis 316, Veronica Mills 312, Cole Cobb 312, Steve Mills 307, Sally Lewis 211, Vince O'Doherty 206, Margaret O'Doherty 202, Jan Cobb 202, Denny Madeleine 201 and Jacques Briand 200. A great many thanks to Luena for setting me straight on the details. If you're in the area, get in touch and see if you can be in the running for a cider. Is it just me, or has anyone else noticed the bikini-clad young lady on the carousel of images behind the MyPetanques pages? Top left corner if you're looking. Oh, and on my laptop she doesn't fully show. Last episode, I suggested I needed a few jokes to add to the show. I am now in receipt of a plethora of them and ready to share. Are you ready? Here we go. The past, present and future walked into a bar. It was tense. Oh, I love it. At the end of the day, a cliche walks into a bar. Fresh as a daisy, cute as a button and sharp as a tack. Oh, they're getting better. A cinnamon, no he doesn't, not a cinnamon, but a synonym strolls into a tavern. I could go on, but I really would like to keep you company. Once again, we've come to the end of another Petanque Points podcast. I do hope you get to play at Mount Beauty where there is no need for square boules. Maybe you can come up with a better version of Dong the Vong, Tong the Thong, and maybe you should check the gender of your trophies. If you have an idea, comment, report or other contribution you would like us to cover it, send it to audiorexy@gmail.com. That's audiorexy@gmail.com. In any case, that's all I have for you this week. Tune in to the next episode where we'll go behind the scenes with Peter Wells and his MyPetanques website, have some details on the upcoming National Carnival, review the outcome of coaching and umpires clinic, find out what it takes to start a club from scratch. We could even have results from the Port Fairy return match and maybe have a wine tasting. Well, at least I will. Whatever we will do, we would like to share it with you. To be sure you don't miss out on any episodes, subscribe through your favourite podcast app and please tell others about the show. Rex out.